the welfare of millions of people for generations to come may be affected by the wisdom which we here display. If Nigerian leaders and our British partners are to prove themselves worthy of their trust, now is the time for us solemnly and truly to dedicate ourselves to seeking the greatest good of the greatest number of our people in Nigeria. Independence for Nigeria in 1960 is imperative. But independence for Nigeria as a corporate entity is not enough. The peoples of Nigeria must at the same time be guaranteed their freedom. We must ensure that in an independent Nigeria, individual citizens throughout the land enjoy liberty, human dignity, and equality under the law. There must be one Nigeria with one constitution and one law for all. Let us therefore, Mr. Chairman, sir, close our ears to the counsel of despair, which says that we cannot here at this conference agree on a constitution. If there's any doubt among us as to what should be written into the constitution, let us, as Democrats that we profess ourselves to be, refer such problems, as the Gaulle has done recently, to the people whom we profess to represent, either just before or at the federal elections late in 1959.
Welcome to Lenses on the Area Council. Today, I am Joy Annie. Many thanks for joining me. Now, this weekly program will take you through the 6 FCT Area Council's activities from Amak, Abaji, Bwari, Gwagwalada, Kwali, and Kuje, with updates on politics, social events, and more. On the program, there will be several segments like news, events, interaction, and feedback, where you can share your perspectives and challenges, and of course, get response from stakeholders. You can join the conversation now by making contribution via social media platform on Instagram with official Joy Annie. You can also send WhatsApp messages and videos of happening in your locality on the Instagram handle. We will open the phone lines in course of the program, but for your contributions and perspectives, so do well to call in. We will be right back after this short break. Just stay with us.
Our first efforts at democracy and self-government were abruptly arrested in the mid-60s, largely as a result of the incongenial atmosphere engendered by the uncompromising stance adopted by the political parties of the First Republic. Thus, opportunities were lost for our people to interact and learn to accommodate different points of view for the betterment of the country. We must not allow that episode to repeat itself. The new system that we have adopted presents us with yet another opportunity to achieve national integration, which is a prerequisite for the building of a strong and virile nation.
Welcome back. Now, recent economic realities have proven that the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory cannot solely rely on the territory's allocation for survival. These realities, no doubt, has led to several questions on community development achieved via allocation and the need for more revenue generation in the council. Our focus is on Abuja Municipal Area Council and Bari Area Council on community development and revenue generation. My guest is already seated, and I will come back to this right after bringing you happenings from the Area Council. Please stay with us.
Campaign works are carried out to enlighten people about critical issues in society, and this work is no different. Organized by the Survive Fistula Healthcare Foundation, this work seeks to enlighten citizens on obstetric fistula, its causes, prevention and treatment, and also commemorates the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula. Rounding up the work at the Gomo of Kuje's Palace marked the significance of traditional leaders in safeguarding the health of their people. The Gomo of Kuje, Alhaji Haruna Jibrin Tanko, reiterated the need to enlighten the populace on the importance of maternal health while emphasizing the role of men in ensuring that their wives attend antenatal care.
Just of recent, honestly, I'm not happy. There are a lot of losses we recorded in the community just of recent, and most of the losses is on issue of delivery. But I don't blame the health personnel. I blame, like you have said, the husbands who didn't want to take their family for antenatal and some other things to receive attention. Because if you try having your wife to deliver at home, like one speaker rightly said, you may not have a qualified person that will attend to your wife, and the next day it will be another situation different from what we are thinking of.
The Executive Director, Survive Fistula Healthcare Foundation, Mrs. Peter Sogumai, appreciated the Chief for his support in making sure that his people get quality health care. She also called on husbands to always encourage their wives to attend antenatal care when pregnant in order to reduce chances of complications during delivery.
They should go to hospital. They should go and register in the hospital to have good antenatal, quality antenatal care. And from there, they will identify them if they cannot deliver vaginally. So they identify them from there and select them for cesarean section.
Obstetric fistula is a developmental and public health issue, but also a human rights issue, one that grants everyone the right to health and a life of dignity. The International Day to End Fistula is a day to mark progress towards addressing fistula and for nations and communities to renew pledges to end fistula. This year's theme, End Fistula Now, Invest in Quality Healthcare, Empower Communities, is a clarion call for governments and communities to provide quality maternal health care in order to end fistula. Lois Apasambu, ASO Television News.
The Assistant Director Legal Unit, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, Mr. Yetsega Emmanuel, stated this while meeting with residents of Garki in the outright refusal to pay for the beans bought. Mr. Emmanuel said that the board is out for a revenue drive and is ready to change and is ready to charge defiant to court.
Some of them send their relations, people who are in the house with them. Being at work should not be an excuse, because we don't just give a day notice for the court to sit. We allow ample time, so that whatever issues are there, you make arrangements for you, somebody to stand in for you, so they don't have that issue. Point, we just call upon them to respond positively towards payment of the bill, so that our service can be improved. That is the central message I will pass across to them.
A retired civil servant Ikechukwu Godwin supported the legal steps taken by the board to recover its money from those who have refused to pay.
Yeah, of course, yeah, I do that. That's why I showed interest in that. Because sometimes when people begin to run away from all these things without trying to express one of the difficulties, you are a country, it makes it difficult for reconciliation.
The prosecutor, Mrs. Okoro Charity, said the exercise is stopping at nothing until everyone is made to pay by charging them.
2 booklets we serve, which is about 100 and something. So many have actually made payments. So we only listed those that have not made payments for today. And even out of the people listed that made payments, some pleaded that they want to go and make payments. So somebody made payment this morning and came also to court. So that's why the cost list is reduced. Ordinarily, we would have had 100 number of persons on the cost list. And for the ones that are paid, we've removed them from the cost list.
The exercise is expected to continue for some time. Topsy Gimba, ASO Television News.
The minister, who was represented by the FCTA Permanent Secretary, Mr. Olushade Adeshola, appealed for sustenance of the prevailing peace in the affected areas and prayed for the repose of the souls of the deceased. Malam Bello also admonished the entire FCT residents to see themselves as a big united family and should work towards the attainment of a common objective of peace, which he said is the bedrock of any development.
I want to thank His Royal Highness for the enormous support he has given, the investment of his time, of his energy in this cause. I called him in the night, early in the morning, Seriki, what is happening? He will send people out, he will call himself to see what is happening. But we are all happy that we are meeting today not with stern faces, even though our pains are with us. Our pains still remain with us in the heart. For one, some of the valuable or the life lost could not be replaced. The valuable that were born may be replaceable. But we thank God for the gift of life. Because they say, once there is life, there is hope.
While presenting a token to the families of the deceased victims, the minister said no amount of money can bring back lives lost, but it's a show that the FCT administration cares about their sufferings at this time. He also assured that reopening the market will be looked into, considering the prevailing peace in the area, but charged residents to be mindful of those who wish to foment trouble in their midst and report them to security agencies. Also speaking, Serikin Jua, His Royal Highness Dr. Idris Musa, commended all parties involved for giving peace a chance and agreeing to continue to live together in harmony. He, however, blamed the social media for the escalation of the crisis.
On behalf of the tomato market, we welcome you, tourists, and we are happy. I remember last week you were here with the Minister of FCT to communicate with what the ugly incident that happened here. After you left, we have been here daily to see that things are calm, and by grace of God, nothing happened again.
Representatives of the affected groups of traders who thanked the FCT minister for quickly responding to the situation regretted the mayhem and loss of lives and property and pledged to return to the old peaceful way they had related in the market before the sad incident. Usman Katun Umar, ASO Television News.
Alhaji Yusuf Sani Yagbaji, who is also the national chairman of the party, said with the certificate of return given to him by INEC has given him the encouragement to work towards clinching the presidency. He therefore called on Nigerians to join hands together with him to make the party win the next elections. Speaking to newsmen soon after the ceremony, Alhaji Yagbaji said with his emergence as the party's flag bearer, he was already coasting to victory.
Nigerians, we are great minds, and we have that can-do spirit. And we always demonstrate it anytime we are given opportunity. And when we go to sane environments where things are working, we're either number one or very good number two. That's a Nigerian for you. Here, because government is there, but there's no governance. Nobody is supervising anything. So this is the problem we have. It's not only in the area of children who are... What about the children, the 10 million over children that are out of school? So what do? How do you... if you want to bring a nation to its knees, attack its education system, attack its feeding system. We are being attacked from both today.
He described Nigeria like a rudderless ship before the turbulent water that requires rescue. He says since independence, the country has not got it right, thereby subject the population to hardship.
This country is a great country, like we all know. We have the resources. We have the agricultural resources. The potential is there. We don't suffer natural disasters. The weather is very kind. The soil is very fertile. So the only thing that we have, which is between us and that greatness, is leadership.
He assured his supporters that he will provide purposeful leadership for the country with right policies on ground. Alhaji Yusuf Sani Yagbaji, with this political step in his life, he is expected to wrestle power with the cream of politicians from APC, ABGA, PDP, and others. Topsy Gimba, ASO Television News. Well,
Permanent Secretary FCT Administration, Mr. Adeshola Olushade, has called on relevant stakeholders in the FCT to do the best they can to support AEPB to protect the environment. Mr. Olushade Adeshola stated this while assessing the performance of AEPB on issues relating to environmental protection in the FCT. Topsy Gimba has the details.
The Permanent Secretary, FCT Administration, Mr. Adeshola Olushade, expressed satisfaction with AEPB to ensure Abuja is kept clean. He tasked every individual to do this in protecting the environment because we need the earth to survive.
As I also mentioned during my address, one of the ways we show support to the environment is by paying our service charges for the cleaning of our waste, for the draining of our sewers. These are necessary to sustain the efforts of the FCT in supporting the environment. And like the poet D.K. Chukwumerije said, if the bush is burning, the Iroko cannot say I am Iroko before it can affect it. So since we know we are all benefiting from the environment, then we have the obligation to protect our environment. And this is the lesson of today's event.
The former director of AEPB, Dr. Babashehu Lawal, said keeping the environment safe is a collective responsibility.
You have to recreate what to do to ensure that that problem is being mitigated. And then you have to restore the sustainability of the environment. So these are the three things that we should remember. And the AEPB and the environmental vanguards should ensure that regular town hall meetings are being organized at every level, at every community level, to impact the knowledge so that people should inculcate, reimagine in your neighborhood or what to do to ensure the sustainability of the environment.
The director of AEPB, Mr. Osilama Brima, said the coming together of the stakeholders, particularly the FCT administration, was to further strengthen the relationship with stakeholders and to appreciate the administration for providing the needed support. He said AEPB cannot do it alone except with the help of relevant stakeholders to keep the environment safe. Mr. Brima said part of the event is to join the rest of the world to mark One Earth. The AEPB decided, therefore, to identify with schools in the FCT to create awareness and to appreciate every effort being made by the stakeholders to keep the FCT clean.
To this end, we are taking drastic yet proactive measures to tackle pollution and waste management, which is one of our biggest challenges in the territory. We hope to achieve 30% waste reduction as soon as possible by putting in place waste transfer stations. At least one will be delivered before the end of this administration. For water management, we already have in place major sewage treatment plants and small aerators. This guarantees sustainable water use.
Awards were given to sub-deserving personalities following their major contributions to keeping Abuja clean. The highlights of the event also included cultural dance to mark the occasion. Topsy Gimba, ASO Television News.
Now, the training to maximize the potential of staff of Abuja Environmental Protection Board has been put together. The director of the Abuja Environmental Protection Board, Mr. Osilama Brima, made this known during the opening ceremony for the two-day workshop in Abuja. Let's also hear that from Topsy Gimba.
AEPB, Mr. Osilama Brima, said that the workshop was aimed at rekindling the minds of staff towards effective service delivery in their workplaces. Mr. Brima said with the training, the staff would experience a remarkable improvement and results-oriented. He enjoined the participants to take advantage of the training for maximum use.
So it's a very important program, and I've employed all the participants to take it very, very serious, because what you learn usually in your youth is what you carry through your life. So if they, at this level of their life, are able to learn these rules, it will follow them through their careers, even to the level of being directors or even federal ministers. So it is good that they are aware of these rules. So we thank the administration for making it possible, and it's going to be a continuous exercise. It's not going to end here. So we are now doing level 8 to 10. We're going to now do from level 10 to 14.
The resource person for the training, Malan Garba Mohammed Daku, said the training will make the participants to be efficient in service delivery. He said for any workplace to achieve its aim, the staff must be seen to be working hard. He said the training was necessary for better result outcomes.
The training program, they should hold it tight to their chest. The court is going to be their working document. Now that they know, they have no excuse not to know. Now that they know all the aspect of discipline, all the aspect of punishment, all the aspect of rewards. It's not only about punishment, it's not only about discipline. There's also rewards for outstanding performance. They will be rewarded. If they put extra work, they will be rewarded, they will be awarded. If they put extra time, they will be paid over time, they will be rewarded.
One of the participants, Mrs. Adewale Omotola Stella, thanked the director for training, saying that at the end of the training, she would have known how and when to resume office. Mr. J.S.Semi Adetunji shared the same ideology about the training.
We appoint themselves with to enable to put their best. So after the training, it's obvious that there will be high improvement, services, and the way they interact with the public.
It's going to enhance it very well because we are here to know the rules and regulation of the federal government work and all that, and it's going to really, really enhance us. We know the time to resume, we know the time to close, and we know when to come early and not when to come early. In fact, we must come early.
It will enhance my productivity in a way that it will help me to know the movement of the public service and how things are done, the protocols, the do's and don'ts of the service. So I want us to jump into conclusion and the hierarchy, the way what the public service will say.
The training ended today. Topsy Gimba, ASO Television News.
Well, let me take you a little bit backward to the elongation of tenure of the judgment of a court that spurred a protest the other time for the chairman of the area councils. A federal capital territory high court sitting in Kuba District under Justice Muhammad Ibrahim set aside the judgment given in favor of tenure elongation for the immediate past chairman and their councillors, ordering immediate swearing in of the newly elected chairman and their councillors. It can be recalled that on May 18, 2022, residents of the FCT received a judgment from the Federal High Court in Abuja and Kubwa, suspending the swearing-in of the elected chairman and the councillors, which generated confusion in the territory, and the legal team of the FCTA had to seek redress of the judgment in court. Justice Ibrahim Muhammad, while delivering a fresh judgment on Thursday, clarified that everybody in a learning process, that persons are bound to make mistakes and also bound to make corrections. He said that it was very clear that some mistakes were made and a judgment was entered, which brought a lot of issues concerning the elongation of the tenure of the outgoing chairman in the 6 area councils. Well, Justice Muhammad further said that in his wisdom, he has vacated that first judgment that was given by him and thereby directed that the area council chairmen who were elected and issued a certificate of return, that the FCT minister should go ahead and swear them into office. Honorable Emmanuel Young, spokesperson of Campaign Council and AMAC chairman elect, while speaking on the judgment, explained that for a while the battle has been on, which made the chief judge of the FCT direct the matter back to the same court that initially issued the first judgment. Now let's look at reactions as the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Abuja, Kuba District under Justice Muhammad set aside the judgment given in favor of tenure elongation for the immediate past chairman and the councillors. Some residents continue to react on the new development. Abdullah Mukhtar has that report.
Justice Muhammad Ibrahim, who is the Judge FCT High Court Kuba, ordered the immediate swearing in of the newly elected chairman and their councillors. It can be recalled that on May 18, 2022, residents of FCT received a judgment from the FCT High Court in Kuba, suspending the swearing in of the elected chairman and the councillors, which generated anxiety in the territory. The legal team of the FCT had to seek redress of the judgment in court. Mr. Samuel Okechukwu, Madu Agu is the chairman FCT APC Southeast Forum. He said the judgment confirmed that the judiciary remains the last hope of the common man, stressing that the judgment has again strengthened the nation's democracy.
We were having doubt that how can something like that happen in Nigeria judiciary? But today we have been vindicated that we're on the right path, and we appreciate God for that.
Mr. Agu assured residents that with the judgment under the governing APC, they should expect nothing less of such development, adding that they have confidence in the Alhaji Abubakar Jibrin Giri-led administration, which should, as it is said, believing that to hit the ground running.
You can see that today's outcome is a moral booster in the mind and in the life of all APC members in Gwagwalada Area Council. So we expect nothing less than massive development in Gwagwalada Area Council.
Justice Ibrahim Mohammed, while delivering a fresh judgment on Thursday, clarified that everybody is in a learning process, that persons are bound to make mistakes and also bound to make corrections. He said that it was very clear that some mistakes were made and a judgment was entered, which brought a lot of issues concerning the elongation of the tenure of the outgoing chairman in the 6 area councils. He vacated the first judgment that was given by him and directed that the area council chairmen who were elected and issued a certificate of return should be administered the oath of office by the FCT minister. Abdullahi Mukhtar, ASO Television News.
Welcome back. If you're just joining in, it's Lenses on the Area Council. We are discussing revenue generation for the area councils with focus on Buhari and Amak. You can join the conversation by making contributions via social media platforms on Instagram with official Joy Annie. You can also send WhatsApp messages and videos of happenings in your locality on the Instagram handle. We will open the phone line in the course of the program for your contributions and perspective, so do well to call in. Now, Amak has 12 wards, which comprises the city, center, Gariki, Wuse, and of course, these 12 wards have seen a lot of, have had several records of completed projects at some point. And looking at the fact that Buhari is close to Amak, we want to see what development has been in these 2 area councils, and of course, ways to generate more revenues aside from the allocation that's given to them from the FCTA. So now let's, with me in the studio is Engineer Sinclair Annie. He's a consultant in the power sector and also a public analyst. You're welcome to the program.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, Joy.
Okay, and of course I have another guest, Mr. Atchison Way, Leslie Atchison Way. He's also a development consultant and a strategist. He will be calling in to join us on the program. Now let's talk about revenue generation. You see, Amak is known, I mean, with the projects they have so far, and of course we can see what is happening in Amak. But let us look at Buhari also, which is quite close to Amak. What do you think, aside from the allocation that's given to this area councils, what other ways you think revenue can be generated?
Thank you, Joy. Like I said earlier, thanks for having me on your show. I'm a resident of Abuja, yeah, and I stay within the Amak district. And and the first thing I hit you, I mean, Amak is well sorted, well developed, close to the airports. I mean, the major businesses are within Amak, and I mean, it hasn't reached the peak of where it's supposed to be, but it's, I mean, it can stand tall in most cities. I mean, it's been said that Abuja is the fastest growing city in Africa. But Buhari being the twin or the closest brother, the closest area council to Amak, it's a far cry from where it should be. And that reason basically is not because of, I'm not sure there's no effort being done. It's not for lack of effort, but I think if the people that are in charge of that district could put a little bit more ingenuity and make it a little bit more accessible to people that might want to do business there, Because I'm quite aware I think we have some offices there, like JAM, WIAC, and some. We also have the law school, and that's like somewhere we can actually do a lot of business within that district. But it still looks like a small town. So I mean, in this kind of stuff, you need a lot of experts, like people that do urban and regional planning, to be able to go and give incentives to other. Something that people would like. For an example, I'm going to cast us back a little bit to when, I don't know if it looks like a rumor, but there's some truth in it. When the present governor of Kaduna State was the minister of the FCT. And he was complaining then that, why does everybody want to move to Maitama? What's going on in Maitama? Why is Maitama so important and all that? I mean, Maitama was created by somebody. Why can't we replicate it? And initially, if you had been in Abuja way back in 2000, you'll understand that Maitama was like the Victoria Island or the VGC or whatever of Lagos. RFI from nothing started putting infrastructures in Otako, Uye, and all that stuff. And right now, the way Uye is developing and the way things, I mean, it's big. Maitama just froze into a corner. He literally exposed that place, and people never knew that we can actually live here. Then opposite Otako is actually Mabuchi. It was all bushy and all that stuff. But because that happened, we now had more development. Now, between here and Buhari, there's a lot of land, a lot of space, and yeah, we have a lot of, looks like unsafe to some people. The closest town or closest estate right now or to Buhari is Katankwe, if I'm not mistaken. There's Kuba before Katankwe or before, how does it work?
Yes.
Yeah, so the more we develop, the more people see, okay, fine, we don't have to be clustered in one place, we can actually move out. And yeah, their civilization keeps going because they're building places. And I noticed that on the highway right now, there are estates on both the left and the right, and there are beautiful houses there. I think in a matter of time, if the person in charge of Buhari wants to key into this, he might want to start keying and understanding or putting value into what they have in Buhari, because it's still part of the FCT. So if you want to have maybe bring down the price of land or stuff, first of all, you need people, because without people, you don't have development.
Right.
So when you have people moving to Buhari, which means the lands are affordable, they are secure, they don't have issues where they feel unsafe, because when you feel unsafe, you're now clustered to where you feel people are living. Make it more attractive in terms of the price, in terms of the structure. Make already facility-prone estates that have drainages, that have plug-in lights, that probably have transformers, that have water. If all this is in place within Buhari, not even in the heart of Buhari, let's start from the entrances. Then people gradually keep moving, and migration is key. Once people feel comfortable in that place, things will happen, and of course, the Igbo community, most of the Igbo community actually stay there. So, but I noticed that the business part in terms of fixing cars is still in Apo, but Apo is being driven much downer. So every time they want to move Amak wants to move a little bit notch, it moves the Apo residents further in.
Okay.
But I thank God that they actually have considered the people there and actually made an estate, and most of the selling parts are actually there. So the guys in Buhari can actually do something different. I have some things I've written down maybe prior to this conversation I'd like to share, but it will bother on security as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if you want us to go down to it, we can go.
Yes, just before we get to security, you know, you can't really compare the maybe level of development in Amak here to Buhari Area Council. But let's look at things like agriculture. Agriculture, when it comes to Amak, we know that there are a few lands in Amak to Amak has lands, definitely. But Buhari seem to have more because they have more space that has probably not been occupied so far, which I think is another part of revenue generation if channeled in the right way. Yes, agriculture is something. And of course, if some of those people, maybe the farmers, the local farmers are brought into done in a different way, that the chairman could raise some levy from them based on an adequate or a proper infrastructure or farming technology given to them to be able to raise what's called farming in a different level to maybe feed the FCT. That will raise a lot of infrastructure. Do you agree with that?
I quite agree, but that's in a circumstance where everything is normal. Now we're in a little bit of a tense period, so a lot of people would frown at in going to farming and stuff like that. What you said is quite right. Farming, yes, to feed the state first, then probably have enough export to feed the country, because I know there are a lot of mountains, and I'm sure there are a lot of mineral resources within Buhari, but not untapped. I know there's some construction companies blast dynamite there to get granite.
Of course.
So they have a lot of natural gold there that people can actually mine. But what it looks like is they're just raping the place and bringing it to town, because most of that infrastructure is not happening in Buhari. They're taking those things and bringing it to Amma. Because, that's another thing. So sometimes I think they should actually, either you're going to tax them more for doing that and use that money to develop Amma, because, the whole of Papi is already gone. The hills in Papi is almost finished. So Buhari is the next major thing with the mountains. Now the farming thing. Farming is the next big thing. It's something that could be the third place bubble in Nigeria. We had the oil boom. Right now we have the energy sector booming with the power stations and all that, and gas, farming. And there's something actually called, it's not the regular farming we do. It could be a farming service company. But like I said initially, the incentive has to be there. The price of the land or the lease of the land, in so to say, either has to be affordable and has to have an attraction that, because to farm you're going to use you need 1,000 or 2,000 square meters to build a house, but farming you need hectares of land. Now, are the communities within there, are they enlightened enough to understand that the government has a right to do this, because it has to be it has to be something better for them in the future? Do they have that? They don't have that buy-in.
Sure.
So Buhari needs to have that sensitization of the people that, look, you might have foreigners here.
Of course.
You might have Chinese, Indians, Pakistanis, Americans here. People that want to help to probably even give you guys jobs, because, of course, you're not going to be farming with just machines. You're going to need people at some point. And if you have an area where they have a natural habitat of maybe some animals and they want to conserve that place, they need to take that into condition. So the indigents of that place need to be taken, part of that. So there needs to be a communication gap bridge between the people of the place, because there are residents there. Whatever you want to do, you're going to displace people. And displaced people leads to angry people. And angry people leads to people that are feel disenfranchised and they want to react. They're hungry, they feel you guys are not being fair to them, and they start doing things that are not that public enemy related.
Yeah.
So first of all, that discussion has to happen. Because I noticed in Nigeria, people don't care to have that discussion. It's like, I'm glad you're doing this program, because if there's, government is watching, there needs to be an engagement between the people in power, the councillors and the people that won the election for this very role. Go and reach out to the people. Let that be a sensitization. Let that be a situation where you tell them, listen, they're not taking over your land. Even tell them, okay, they're going to lease it for 100 years. You're going to get it back. But we need to have them here, so we need people to come. We need to be able to feed within our region. We need to be able to take outside. And whatever money that goes on, tell the people that they have a percentage of stuff. Let it not be like the oil companies. Let them be like the oil companies, where, because they take oil from a place, the place is raped and look horrible. No, the farm is a little bit more eco-friendly, more green.
Sure.
So now, if you have that setting, a lot of things will come into place. You're not only farming with mechanized equipment, with probably drones to tell you that the weather ratings and when it's going to rain.
Of course.
You're farming all those things, and probably you now have probably the glorious what they call it, the is it called the rigging? What was that thing?
Okay.
They wanted to do?
Okay, let's just,
Yeah.
while you are trying to
Yeah.
get that, let's hold that thought. I'm now being joined by Mr. Leslie Atchison-Way, a development consultant and a strategist. If you can hear me, sir, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I greet you.
Okay. Mr. Atchison, we're talking development, revenue allocations and community development in Amak and Bari. Now, I was just talking with my guest in the studio, and he's been giving me a whole lot of handful where revenue generation can be from the Bari and the Amak area councils. But let's talk to you now. You see, there's been, how much do you think internally generated revenue is functional in Bari Area Council, comparing the fact that it's close to Amak, and Amak has a lot of development and allocation that has been given to them. How much do you think can be brought in internally from Bari Area Council? How can they raise their revenue aside from the allocations they get?
Okay. First, we must commend this administration in two fronts. One is the fact that allocations to local governments have been championed by this administration directly in the Treasury. And FCT has benefited immensely in terms of getting full allocations. You know, when it comes to allocations to now on revenue generation, yes, I'm at Abuja Municipal Area Council is top among the most generating local government in Nigeria because of highly cosmopolitan nature of Abuja. Now, but when you want to put it in comparison with Buhari area council, the challenge will be that what is made of Amak is not made of Buhari. Buhari local government area council has over 50,000 registered people. They have about 1 million or so SMEs, small and medium enterprises. But some of these businesses are very small, so much that revenues expected to be coming from these areas are not enough to add up so as to compare what Buhari is doing with generating in terms of revenue with that of Amak. Now, Buhari Area Council is more aggressive, closer to the Papi area, the Duse, Alak area, the Kubwa area, and all the. We know the kind of businesses that are functional. And when you want to compare it, what is happening here, it may not be in proper case. Now, but then, there is something fundamental about development that the local government, the Amak Area Council, is doing that the Buhari may not be doing. Because every local government has statutorily areas they can harness to grow their revenue and to invest in businesses that can also increase their idea. Now, the more the incentives given to SME, they will double the numbers in terms of their IGR. But then, in Abuja Municipal Area Council, because of its cosmopolitan nature, some persons already come with their own investment minds. It's also in the city center, so it's competing like the what they call it, the states. So that's why we will not be putting them in the same pedestal when it comes to ranking. But we can now say that the Buhari Area Council can do more. They can double their numbers from what they are currently generating in terms of IGRO. They could double it to 70%. If the area council managers are innovative in 3 ways. For example, they could identify a niche in agro businesses, agro processing centers that meets with international standard, whereby agro products that are coming out from Buhari should have export grades, in terms of usability. Because when we look at what the quantum of goods and services that are being rejected when exported because of their lack of export ban, we will now understand why it is important, why the Buhari Area Council decided to make agriculture alone. Let's say 4 areas of agriculture: corn, soya bean, rice, millet, and perhaps wheat. On this area, Buhari Area Council have comparative advantage given their topography. Now, when investment is done on this critical area, there is no way the IGRO will double. Now, let's go to the next area. The Buhari Area Council can do more. Now, the Buhari Area Council can invest in technology. Nothing is wrong if the government decides to create a special purpose company to undertake critical businesses in technology areas that can grow is permitted within the law.
Okay.
Now,
yes, I was just going to talk to you on, like you said, they can double their finances and they can double it to 70%. The IGR or something you said. I can barely hear you, but
yes.
If I got that right, you see, let's look at the fact that the level of utilization so far of what they have compared to AMAC, like I said, we are looking at AMAC and Buhari, the level of utilization so far in their financing sources, not from the allocation now. Because, of course, they have some of these things laid down, which they raise. I mean, if you go to some markets, which I think is still noticeable in Buhari, some of the Buhari area councils markets, you could see some of these people, the levies, what to call now, those people collecting levy from some marketers, some people, and all that. Now, how do you think this level of utilization can be raised? Because so far, we know that these financing sources are in different levels.
The fact remains that the level of corruption will undermine the gains that would have been gotten from the revenue collectors. The revenue collectors may not actually be remitting all that has been received or gotten from their drive. The Buhari Council, they really want to get in actual sense what they are worth and what they are everything. They must adopt the technology, the means of technology, to make payments. Businesses can make payments without human interference. And that in itself would make them to take care of leakages and get an actual revenue that can be generated. But because of the human interference, people collect money from the businesses and fed some of them, give little to the government. The government continues to rigmarole or depend on external sources without understanding that in itself it has all it takes to double its IGR, internally generated revenue. Now, if the IGR of the local government needs to be measured, first, technology should be adopted as a means of collection of revenue so that to avoid human interference, they will know the actual. Then the council managers should also invest in special purpose companies that can accelerate their growth in terms of internally generated revenue. You get it? So these are the areas that are lacking fundamentally when it comes to what is the work of the government can and what can they bring on the table. Let me tell you, I have done a research on the capacities or the sustainability of local government in Nigeria, and about 400 local governments have been selected to be able to be sustainable, given advantage of technology, given advantage of land mass and human resource, which remains the most critical mass for development. So we have not really harnessed these areas. Now, in the course of the research, it is discovered that technology can help put to the table, or if not double, the revenue of local governments in Nigeria. Let's say, for example, a local government generates 1 billion per month. How about pushing the revenue to 200% increase? That would be more than double. This is possible and can only be possible if we adopt technology as a means of collection and invest as a local government in special purpose companies that look at growth vis-a-vis the capacity of the local government.
Okay. Mr. Atchison, thank you so much. We are way out of time, and I wish I could open the phone line like I said, but you can drop your comments, you can drop your perspectives on social media handle at Official Joy Annie on Instagram, and you can also send WhatsApp messages and videos of happenings in your locality on our Instagram handle using Official Joy Annie. Well, I'm sorry I couldn't open the phone line today. I must thank my guests, Mr. Atchison Way, for joining us on the program, and of course, Mr. Engineer Sinclair Annie. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I had to cut you on that thought. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about on the area council revenue generation.
Sure.
Thank you to my guests for watching.
Thank you.
See you again, same time, same station next week. Bye for now. I am Joy Annie.